So the world was a better place this morning for the first session of the 2024 season. Enthralled, excited. These are the emotions that we had as the F1 fan base. We were going to get to see some cars. No longer were we going to have to depend on shadowy photos or livery reveals. All that stuff is for the birds. And did we get to see some cars? Because our first vision, our first vista of the RB20 has shook me to my boots. I am super scared as an F1 fan that wants to see competition over 24 races in the 2024 season that we're not going to see anything of the sort. Now, I know this is massive blasphemy. I'm being an F1 noob. There are no conclusions, definitive or otherwise, to be drawn from these sessions. It's testing after all, not quali. That's where the real knowledgeable guys draw their conclusions. But you know what? I'm going to draw them anyway. I don't care. I've not been one to follow fashion. I'm going to tell you what I saw, and what I saw was an RB20 that looks sorted. It looks super robust. There are design tweaks. This is a revolution, not an evolution, in stark contrast to what you've heard before. They've made massive design steps. Adrian Newey is not that type of guy to rest on his design philosophy laurels, and he hasn't done. They have inlets, super thin ones on the side pod. You can't even fit a bloody iPhone in that. Now, I don't know how that's going to work for their aero efficiency, but you know what? If I'm a betting man, Adrian, you might have nailed this one again, as he has done for the past 24 months. You've also got an a vertical duct to assist with the cooling, and you've got this bloody halo duct as well that nobody else has considered yet. All these things leave me concerned. Red Bull have done it again, haven't they? And then you get to see Max Verstappen out on track, and he looks rapid. Okay, so in the first instance, first thing in the morning, didn't look fantastic, looked a bit skittish, struggled with the oversteer, but then he's gone back in the pits and he's put on the C3 tyres and come out and look serene. Many people describe that Red Bull as looking like a hovercraft over the contoured Sakir circuit, and we know all important in 2024 is stability, how that suspension works with those Venturi tunnels, because you got to optimize for the airflow going underneath the car at all times under braking and acceleration, and that Red Bull car looks like it's got it nailed. What else would you expect from the genius, the god tier aerodynamicist that is Adrian Newey, the same fella that studied ground effect in his thesis at uni in 1980 whenever. And true to form, we saw casual Adrian Newey rocking up, no uniforms. He looked like he owned the place, right? Shoulders pushed back, easy, confident, surveying his environment, observing his masterpiece while the minions were running around, the mech engineers were sorting things out at his behest. It just all looked very serene, didn't it? All very calm and all very competent. Now, many people have argued over the past 24 hours that instead of signing Lewis Hamilton, what Ferrari needed to sign was Adrian Newey, yeah? If they're going to try and design a car capable of winning themselves a championship. Because for now, what it looks like the design is another car that's skittish, difficult to handle. And if you're Charles Leclerc, it didn't look like you had a good first testing session of 2024. He was locking up his brakes. There was porpoising. What have we talked about hitherto? Why have they continued with that suspension setup that didn't work, that led to a tyre eater of a Scuderia Ferrari car, particularly in the race? Okay, so it was quick, but what about the race? I don't know. I'm growing exhausted with this message. I can't say it often enough. Push rod at the front, pull rod at the back. Why not Scuderia Ferrari? Yeah, you tested Red Bull's one and it didn't work, but look at you now. My mum used to say, those who don't hear must feel, and sadly for Scuderia Ferrari, I feel like they slot very nicely into that category right now as at 2024, but good luck to them, man. I hope they can make a competitive season out of this desperately. We need them and Mercedes and McLaren to step up to this plate, because right about now it looks like Max Verstappen is going to go and win himself a fourth at a canter. Now I hear you, it's just testing, Cameron. Why are you jumping to all these conclusions? Wait till qualifying in a few days, why don't you? And then we can make all these extrapolations and draw some definitive conclusions. But you know, I'm just talking to it. I'm saying it as I see it. as at now in real time. And here's hoping I'm wrong. I hope Ferrari and Charles, Lewis and Mercedes, Lando and McLaren make an absolute mug out of me in a couple of days' time. I really do hope so. But that's not what it's looking like. Not as at the first session, day 1, 2024. Alex Albon experienced struggles, apparently experiencing reliability issues, potentially having run out of fuel. The only man in the first session of the day to stop out on track. Oh, and by the way, did you hear me when I said that Red Bull looks like a hovercraft, stable as fudge over that contoured Sakir Grand Prix circuit, whereas the rest of them, Ferrari, Mercedes and others, look like it's 2022 all over again. Porpoising Central. Oh, the humanity. The rest have taken a back step, as we suspected, and I wanted to be optimistic. I hate coming on here and being a Debbie Downer and saying we're going to get another 12 months worth of dead racing, monotony, having to suspend our disbelief and rocking up every Sunday, believing that somebody can take on Max Verstappen when we know it's nothing of the sort. And if the rest have flopped it, this one has wider reaching ramifications, because lest we forget 2026, brand new set of rules and regulations. So if you mess this one up for 24, then there's no point continuing to develop for 25. You may as well write off the next 24 months. And that's my concern. If Max is going to be dominant this season, then he's going to be dominant next season. The teams will be best placed to write this one off and start thinking about 2026. We've already heard Toto Wolff talking about it. It's already front and center of his mind. Now you guys are going to say that I'm over-egging it, but did you see the car? The car looks like Red Bull are thinking in 4D where the rest are in 3D. The side pod inlets now, an evolution of their progression last year, razor thin. You can't even fit an iPhone through the horizontal ones. They have a vertical inlet also, and the one around the halo right by the driver's head. So they're thinking about cooling in addition to aero efficiency and a stable platform. How can you beat these guys? I don't know. Nor do the rest of the field, apparently. And only to fill me with more dread and scepticism at the competitive landscape, Max Verstappen in the first session of the day was the only one to be quicker than the equivalent time at the same time last year. But you know what, maybe I am being a bit hasty. It's only testing after all. You accumulate data, the most laps wins, not the fastest times. And Alonso looks decent, eh? Most laps completed in the morning, quick, stable, hovercraft settings. Bravo, Aston Martin. Maybe they are heir apparent to the Red Bull throne that Max currently sits on. Maybe. But in other news, allegedly, the man being investigated for alleged inappropriate behaviour, team principal of Red Bull, for now, Christian Horner, was spotted in situ. He's there and still in power. But if a Finnish reporter this morning is to be believed, it's a stay of execution as Red Bull round out the details, the minutiae, on a severance plan. Maybe, just maybe, in 24, a change in Red Bull leadership is the only threat to Max Verstappen's continued dominance.